Alright, hello everybody, my name is Myung, and this is going to be my first ever Arena Assault video for Fire Emblem Heroes. Let me know what you guys think about this video format in the comments. I definitely want to do more of these videos, but if there's anything I need to change, let me know. So, this is my main arena core, Noe, Young Innis, Echidna Versa, and as you can see, it's definitely not the strongest arena core out there. I mean, obviously, like, Young Innis and Versa don't have the proper dual skills they need to be max scoring, and Noe and Echidna kind of have outdated builds, but this is a team I like using, and I know the blessings aren't appropriate either for all of them, but I am not the kind of person to be super finicky about that for the first match. For the rest of the matches, I'll pay attention to the corresponding blessing, but for the first match, since I don't ever really like flip the blessings on these characters, it's whatever to me. So Noe, as you can see, is the main tank, and Aversa actually took down that legendary Eliwood pretty easily, but then again, if you saw, he didn't have all of his remix skills. He didn't even have his default C skill, he just had attack opening, so it was very easy to actually just kind of take him out. And because Brave Lucina shoved Brave Ike away from her, Aversa could no longer get the debuffs and double that Brave Ike, so I had to kind of do some weird positioning and just hope that Noe was going to be able to tank this Brave Lucina. The main worry I just had with this interaction was worrying if Brave Lucina was going to still be able to double, but luckily I have a good amount of speed stacked up on my Noe, so I didn't have to actually, it wasn't that big of a deal. And Young Innis is great against Brave Ike because of Boa Freya. I'm really glad I built him up. Definitely one of my most reliable units and for that job, and Aversa, as you can see, just finishes the job on Ike. Echidna obviously did not do a whole lot here, but admittedly this is probably the weakest unit of the team, so just because I don't have a lot of stat boosting skills on her, like I just use Slaying Axe and default distant counter, so I think if I were to rework the build and maybe get her some better skills, she could do more, but as it stands, when I need her to do something, she can do it pretty reliably well. So as you can see, the second team is almost an Ike emblem, except for the young Tiki. I decided to pull out Altena because with the two Sword Ikes being in their own section, I could very easily just put her in range of them and have her tank them just fine. And then eventually I was debating what second blue unit to bring to take care of young Tiki, and then I looked again and noticed that she actually does not have distant counter in any form. So I realized I could go ahead and just bring a good blue mage, and not even a good one, I didn't even need to do that. I just need to bring a blue mage who can do decent damage enough and just chip her down. So I brought Muriel, well, for that job, because Muriel's actually pretty good, even just a one-off copy. She's got some good damage and good speed. I brought Ina to counter Brave Ike. I use Ina to counter Brave Ike a lot in Arena Assault, just because even if she can't one-round KO him through the damage reduction, she rarely ever takes damage from him, so I can just kind of park her in his range and let that course play out. Halloween Sakura I brought as a healer just because I wanted to bring a healer, but not one that I felt could be very useful later, because as you'll see later on in the video, I have healers like Lucius and Mercedes who can heal but then also do things like Mercedes has gravity and Lucius has pain, whereas Halloween Sakura is a healer who is good at healing but is not, I don't use her for a lot outside of that, so I figured I could safely bring her into this match and not have to worry about anything really in particular. And yeah, as you can see, Altena just destroys these two Ikes. I go ahead and heal her up, even though I don't really need to at this point. And I put Ina in Brave Ike's range. I admittedly did not realize that there was a defense tile there until after I moved her. But, I mean, it's not a big deal. As you can see, she's just tanking him just fine and doing pretty good damage. And actually, yeah, finishes him off, which I was honestly kind of surprised by. But then again, now that I think about it, it wasn't like it was a consecutive attack, so Ina could do that attack at full force. And then, yeah, Muriel just takes care of this young TP. Muriel is honestly a really good unit. Like, she's obviously not going to be the strongest blue mage ever because she doesn't have a perf, but for a generic one, she does really well thanks to her good overall stat line. So this is another relatively easy team, especially since that legendary Marth doesn't really have any distant counter and only has double attack speed bond, which is obviously not too great. So I figured I could bring some relatively easy units to just take him out. I brought New Year's Fjorm just to take out the Cordelia, and I brought, once I realized neither of the Marth nor the Erica had distant counter, I decided I could bring a blue mage, so I decided to bring Valentine Veronica and a home Cav just to nuke them. And I brought Luke because he has home Cav and is a red unit who could easily take out the Nino. And I brought Roderick because I have Luke and Roderick supported.
What do you want?
So, with Luke and Roderick being supported, I don't actually use either of them super often, so I decided to support them because I know that they're, like, obviously a pair in New Mystery of the Emblem. My general the general way I use ally support is either I use it for pairs of units who I use super frequently together, like I have Brave Micaiah and Brave Erica supported together because I use them together a lot in Ether raids, or I use them with pairs of units who canonically work together. Like I have Sigurd and Deirdre together, because they're obviously a canonical couple, but then I also have like Luke and Roderick together because they work together.
Let's go together.
Of course.
And yeah, so Valentine Veronica was able to take care of that Marth really easily, and then I could just use New Year's Fjorm since she's a flyer to reposition her into a better spot to be buffed. And since Nina was on the defensive tile, Luke couldn't kill her, but that's fine because once she got off the tile, well, he was able to do the job.
What to do?
And then, really, I probably could have positioned this better so that Roderick Roderick really didn't need a rally there because it was only going to be a small buff, but I decided to go for that anyways, and I guess I didn't really need to.
Understood.
And then I just let Roderick get this final kill because, well, he didn't really do a whole lot in the match, so I figured I'd let him get one. Alright, so this next match was interesting. When I entered in and saw this team of FIRs, I really did not expect it because FIR is not a common unit, and the fact that none of them have duels either, which is actually kind of surprising. The fact that there's also 2 +10 Spring FIRs means this person spent a lot of money, I assume, to get to that point. So that's some very good dedication. And if you guys may have been able to tell just from the thumbnail, but I will just go ahead and spoil it. I do not win this match. As you'll eventually see, I definitely severely underestimated just how powerful these FIRs were, because I was thinking like, oh, FIR's not that strong of a unit, this won't be that bad. But as you'll see, I was very clearly wrong. But I guess until that point, I brought Midori, since she's a red archer with good defense, so she could easily take care of the Spring FIRs, especially since neither of them have IOTs. I brought Duo Ephraim because I figured he would be able to tank them pretty well. The red FIRs, I mean. Especially since FIR does not have the strongest attack, so Ephraim could probably get the buffs off. I brought Dancer Ishtar just in case I needed, well, for dance support obviously, but also in case I needed magic support to take care of the Spring FIR, since Spring FIR does not have the greatest res, but has okay defense. And I brought Lind as a blue mage to help take care of the red fears, especially since one of them doesn't have distant counter. She has Fury instead. So, with both the Spring Fears having Assault Troop, I decided to play a little carefully.
Let me help.
I knew I had to tread a little carefully,
I'll show you.
but I figured I could go in and at least take that one out and be safe, because obviously Assault Troop only works in cardinal directions, and neither of them have any other teleporting skills. So, from here, I knew that since the Spring Fear again couldn't reach Duo Ephraim, since the charge from Assault Troop only worked in cardinal directions, I figured I could just park him in the range of these red fears and be fine. That, as you can see, is not... This was not as safe, anywhere near as safe as I thought it'd be. I also did not, I did not rally with Midori's Jolly Attack Defense either, which probably didn't help. But I don't think I would have won this match even if I did. So from here, I just kind of end up falling back and rallying and healing up Ephraim, because I don't really know how much else I could do. I realized afterwards that I probably could have used the duo skill to actually get out of the range, but I didn't think about that until it was too late, so I just kind of let this interaction play out. Yeah, so underestimating this fear really got the best of me. I really did not expect her to do that much damage, but kudos to that person for being able to have that happen. I mean, that was a very impressive team. I only wish I could have that kind of dedication to a single character like that. So, this team has definitely stronger units, like, overall, than that fear, but I actually wasn't super worried about this team, especially once I realized neither the Edelgard nor the Carla had distant counter. I could bring a blue mage. I initially was gonna bring Reeve until I realized charge counts as warping movement from Assault Troop, so it wouldn't have really helped. So I brought Astrid to bait out the legendary Azura, and I have a lot of legendary Azura counters from when she was super meta. Like, I have Young Merrick on Water Season, I have legendary Male Byleth, obviously. I brought Monica to take care of the Edelgard and the Carla. I recognize the kind of irony in using Monica to take out Edelgard, but it was funny to me. I guess I could have brought somebody else because she didn't really need the desperation effect here. Well, no, actually the Carla does have distant counter. I admittedly forgot that, so I am actually glad I brought her instead. I was a little worried she wasn't going to be able to outspeed her, but I, for some reason, didn't really think. I just kind of went with it. I brought Leone just in case I needed another archer, and mainly to take care of the duo lane. And I brought Young Azura just because, kind of the same reasoning as the Hot Springs Sakura. I wanted a dancer, but not one that I felt I could use later. So I brought her just kind of because I could. So yeah, Astrid takes out this legendary Azura with ease. Monica takes out Edelgard, which again, very ironic. I admittedly have actually not played a lot of Three Hopes. I started with Golden Deer, like I did with Three Houses. I haven't played a lot of Three Hopes, but I haven't gotten very far in it at all, beyond the demo and I think a couple of extra levels. So, Astrid can go ahead and take out the duo lane. So I guess bringing Leone here was kind of a waste, but I'm glad I brought her just in case I needed it. And then, this one was also funny to see. So I faced two character emblem teams in one arena assault setting, which is definitely rare. And this one is obviously a lot scarier because of just how good all of these Dimitris are. So I went ahead and just grabbed Lilina because to take out the Summer Dimitri, since Summer Dimitri can't counter, doesn't have damage reduction, and has very low res. And then for the next 3 Dimitris, the Lance Dimitris, I wasn't 100% certain who to bring at first. I considered Teen, because I thought her special and her perf negating damage reduction might help, but then I decided to just go with Legendary Male Byleth, which was also a little scary because I wasn't certain if he was going to be able to outspeed any of the blue Dimitris and get Wind Sweep off, but I just went ahead and went with it. And I brought along Peony as a dancer because the stat boost help, and I think the mobility would also help, especially on this map. And I brought Mercedes along as a gravity healer, just in case Legendary Male Byleth couldn't activate Wind Sweep on any of the Dimitris. And this way I at least have a unit that can not only chip them, but also hold them back for a bit and stall them out so that I have more time to move my units around. So yeah, Lilina takes out that Summer Dimitri with ease, and I just kind of get my other units in somewhat of a position ready because I don't know exactly where they're going to move.
Yes?
Honestly, when I saw that Lilina did basically 0 damage to the Brave Dimitri, I was really worried because I legitimately thought that was purely from the damage reduction. But then after this combat where with Legendary Male Byleth, I realized it was because he had noontime, so he would have just healed back whatever damage Lilina dealt. I mean, granted, as you can see, she literally did only 1/4 of the damage that was in the calculation, so it was still very scary, but at least she was able to take him out. Like, the fact that I straight up thought she couldn't even do a single hit point of damage to Dimitri was what really scared me.
Leave it to me.
So from here I just let the Dimitris come to me and I can take them out. Mercedes admittedly did not do a whole lot here, so I kind of wasted bringing her, but I'm glad I brought her just in case I really needed it. And yeah, I also recognize the irony of bringing both Byleth and Mercedes against the Dimitri team. I guess this is the Black Eagles run with Lilina and Peony. So this team is definitely more of a meta team, I'd say, since it has Legendary Sigurd, Fallen Edelgard, and Brave Dimitri, and then Raisin is a dancer. So for this team, I was initially going to bring Mer, but then I don't remember why I decided against that. I think it was just I was worried that... Oh yeah, it was because I was afraid that she wouldn't... Or Brave Dimitri has such high defense that he would be able to actually just break through her follow-up prevention. So I brought Gustav instead, because I thought that would be a little bit of a smarter choice since he doesn't have to worry about stat checks. I went ahead and brought Extended Ishtar because I figured that, well, obviously bringing a blue mage would be nice here, but I was worried that some of the other blue mages I had would not be able to pierce through Legendary Sigurd quickly enough. So I figured Ascended Ishtar could do it. I brought Dancer Ethlyn in case I needed to poke the units, since she has a Courtly Fan Wind Sweep build. This way I could just poke them and get debuffs off if I really needed it. And so the last unit I was really worried about was this Fallen Edelgard. But I went ahead. I mean, Edelgard is definitely still a threat if you don't have the right units. to counter her, which I admittedly do not have the most of, but I went ahead and brought Brave Alm so that I could just sweep her as well.
Your orders.
I stand.
So I went ahead and put Gustav in Racing's range, just because then it would be very easy to, yeah, then that way I don't have to worry about the advance on the battlefield. I admittedly actually forgot that Gustav had a breath effect in his weapon. I mean, obviously it didn't matter here, but
What's next?
Very well.
I don't know, it just kind of slipped my mind. So I just pull my units back, and I go ahead and, well, I realize I can't do a whole lot to this Edelgard yet since she's on the defensive tile. So I wait, and if you'll notice on the left side, Sigurd and Dimitri get stuck in
Very well.
a reposition loop. But that's fine, because then I can focus on this Edelgard and then worry about them later.
Done.
I'm on it.
So I actually only just pulled this Brave Alm recently, and I don't actually use, or I haven't had too much of an opportunity yet to use him, so being able to use him in this match was nice, because obviously the fight is really strong. And so, funnily enough, Alm and Gatekeeper were, both of the Kyle McCarthy characters were the two CYO units I did not have, and I still don't have Gatekeeper, so I'm waiting on him.
I'm on it.
So from here, I kind of just wait because I'm trying to see how they're moving, and I didn't want to try and take care of the legendary Sigurd with Ishtar if I didn't have a way to
What's next?
take care of the Dimitri as well. So I tried just moving my units around to get them to separate, which did not really work.
Your orders.
So eventually I just said, forget it, and went ahead
I'm on it.
and
Yes.
moved everybody together and so that I could take out Sigurd with Ishtar.
Very well.
I stand ready.
It will be done.
Yeah, so I go and do that, and then I just move her out of the way with
You
this
will
style.
go no further.
Realistically speaking, looking back on it now, I probably could have done this a couple of turns earlier since I had all the tools to get
The steps are clear.
Ishtar out of the way already. I just really didn't think about it, and for some reason I was just scared of the Dimitri being able to do a lot, even though if I did take out the Secret, that obviously makes it much weaker since he doesn't have an ally to be around to activate his effects.
You must understand.
I just didn't think on it at the time.
A twirl and a step. Very well.
I wanted to get this
Consider it.
KO with Evelyn, but obviously I couldn't, so I just went ahead and did it with Gustav. So yeah, that was that match, and then this was funny. Seeing the same exact FIR team that took me out the first time on my last match was funny. Like, it felt like everything had just come full circle. So, I just went ahead and brought my strongest units that could take care of this team. This is a common trend you'll probably see in future Arena Assault episodes, where I'm so cautious about what units I use that by the last match, or even the last two matches, I have a bunch of my strong units, like my really good units left over, so I just pile them all onto one team and go into the match.
I'll handle it.
For Arena Assault, it's really not the worst strategy in the world, because then it helps me like learn to be more conservative with how I'm using these units. Like, I don't want to obviously use like someone like Legendary Ephraim, who's such a good unit and I use a lot
Already done.
so early on, in case I need him later for a stronger team. But it also makes these last couple of matches kind of easy and very predictable, I think.
I understand.
But yeah, as you can see, he even does well against the Spring Fear, which is I was actually unsurprised by, but I just moved him out of the way. Especially because one of them has one sleep, which I don't think I even remembered at the time, but I went ahead and did it anyways. And yeah, I guess you could probably tell already by the way I'm talking. This is post commentary, just because I didn't think to do live commentary as I was doing these matches. But if you guys want to see me do live commentary instead, let me know and I'll work on that. I don't think it should be difficult for me to. I just hadn't considered it. I figured post commentary would allow me to explain more of what I was doing
Will this do?
and my thought process, and also allow me to like throw out my thoughts. Plus, this way, then I can just focus on the match. So yeah, that was the Arena Assault run for this week.